Welcome one, welcome all to the Reddit. Am I the asshole? This has been something that's kind of been going around. I've heard about it from a couple of people now, and I just saw a video on it, and it just really inspired me to do it. It is by, her name is Deb Smeekle or Deb Smickle or Deb Smikle. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, I'm really sorry, but I will put her little photo right here. Highly recommend watching her. Actually, she was really entertaining to watch with her video of going over this Reddit. I thought she was really funny, so definitely recommend checking her out if you would like to. My mom first mentioned it because she watched somebody do it, and then I watched her do it, and I was like, okay, all right, now I just really want to do this because I want to give my 2 cents on stuff. So we're gonna go through this. We're not gonna go over every single one, of course, because there's a bunch in here, but Am I the Asshole is essentially a Reddit where people just come in here and they ask, am I the asshole, for like certain situations that they were a part of. And people actually do put, if they think that you're the asshole or not. So I feel like this is fair and open game for people to make videos about and say if you are the asshole or not. So that's what I'm gonna do today. Let's just go ahead and jump into it so that way I don't give you like a minute or two intro here. So we'll go over this one first. This is one that I actually read already, but I'll go ahead and read through it again. So this one asks, am I the asshole for telling a stranger that I don't care that their kid has disabilities? Which the title sounds like, yeah, yeah you are, but when you read the story, it makes sense what they did. So it says, I was on a train and standing close to a family. Because apparently this is relevant, the train was very busy and there was nowhere for me to move to. The daughter was probably around or about 8 years old, although I'm not good at estimating kids' ages, and kept trying to grab my arm. The first time I thought it was probably an accident. The second and third time I tried to just move back as much as possible. And the fourth time I said to the parent, can you stop your daughter from touching me? The parent said, sorry, she's got learning disabilities, but made very little attempt to actually stop her. For example, maybe switch seats so she's further away from strangers, and I replied, frankly, I don't care what she has. Her disabilities have no bearing on whether or not I want her to touch me. I then told my friend about this, and my friend said I was the asshole because I had no idea what it's like to raise any child, let alone one with special needs. I might not be capable of understanding society rules. So, when I first read this, I was just like, eesh, like, the way they replied saying, frankly, I don't care what she has, I feel like they could have came off a little aggressive with their response, if that's actually what they said in person to the parent. They probably could have said it a little bit nicer, but I get what they were trying to, say to them is just like, you know what, this makes me uncomfortable. I understand that your kid has a disability and maybe they don't get social cues or social norms, but I'm uncomfortable with it. So, they've expressed that to the parent. The parent doesn't seem to be doing much. I feel like it's on the parent if they understand that their child has a disability and maybe they don't get social cues, and maybe there might come a time, in this instance, where they made somebody uncomfortable because they didn't understand. I feel like that's on the parent to be just like, I'm so sorry, like, that won't happen again, I can tell you're uncomfortable, I'm really sorry, and then do something. Like, you can't just not do anything, you kind of have to take responsibility. And like, as someone who has not personally taken care of someone with disabilities, I understand that I don't understand fully what that parent is going through, but I feel like if I was that parent, I'd just be like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I will do something. I feel like that's on the parent. So in that case, no, I don't think this person is an asshole, because there are some people that just don't like to be touched. Like, that would make somebody uncomfortable. And it could have gotten way worse, way out of hand than this instance. So thankfully this person was at least nice enough to just be like, hey, this is making me uncomfortable, instead of like making an outburst because they don't know what's going on. So I don't feel like they're the asshole for speaking up. Okay, this one is a long one, so bear with me here. So this one is, am I the asshole for kicking my sister out for bringing gluten into our gluten-free kitchen? Yikes. My daughter is on the more severe end of celiac. Any cross-contamination would set her back for weeks. It has taken us years to get her properly diagnosed and treated, and at 10 years old, she is now underweight and has severe anxiety about food. She will not eat if she feels it's unsafe, and it's hard for me to blame her. Definitely. Our house has both a kitchen and a kitchenette in the basement, complete with full sets of pans and utensils. Our main rule for the house is that there's absolutely no dairy, gluten, or seafood to be kept or cooked in the kitchen. Our older son is allergic to seafood, and my wife is lactose intolerant. The kitchenette is for items containing those ingredients. Okay, fair. My sister and her kids have had to move in with us for personal reasons. They live in the basement bedrooms, and when they moved in, we very clearly explained this rule to them and why. Okay, so they know. It took less than a week for us to find a box of pasta in the kitchen. Yikes. We explained the rule and moved it, and she was apologetic, so they already explained once. A month later, my daughter comes to us in a panic because my sister was making fried chicken in the kitchen. My sister was apologetic, but insisted she needed to because the kitchenette was too small. Whatever. It felt harsh, but we moved all of the food to the basement, threw out every single pan and utensil she may have used, and deep cleaned the kitchen. These incidents making the kitchen no longer 100% guaranteed safe has made her regress in therapy. That sucks. We're working on it, but unfortunately right now it is so bad that we have to feed her exclusively takeout from the one gluten-free restaurant around unless we want her in inpatient care. Damn. Which takes us to last Sunday. I get home and my daughter's having the worst panic attack I've ever seen. My mom and sister were in the kitchen making an entire Sunday dinner. Spaghetti, mozzarella sticks, garlic bread, the works. I lost it. Why? I feel like they're doing it on purpose at this point. I ended up absolutely screaming at them that they were ruining my life and had threatened my daughter's life for the last time, and I had had it. I threw all the food out into the yard and told my sister that if she really cared that little about her own niece's life, she could get the fuck out of my house. Now my mom is mad at me for kicking out my sister and her kids when they're vulnerable over a food allergy, but I don't care. She can even leave the kids here if she absolutely needs to, but I'm done with her. We have one rule. One. My wife agrees with me, but thinks I should give one last chance and just not allow sister to bring any food into the house. My mom can't take her in, and she can't afford rent anywhere, so she would be homeless if we didn't let her stay. I'm not sure I'm in the wrong here. The possibility of inpatient care has come up before and been fully investigated by her medical team. She would be eating takeout from the same restaurant. The true differences would be more monitoring and not being at home. Okay, so he's just talking about his daughter there. Well, that really sucks about his daughter. I hope that she gets better. That really sucks for her. Yeah, I don't think he's the asshole in that situation. I feel like if you are taken in by somebody into their home, you should live by their rules, especially if he stated it very clearly when they moved in and have violated that more than once. That to me is just disrespectful, plain disrespect, and not a care for the people who actually live there, especially if it's life-threatening for his daughter. Like, that's serious, and they're not taking it seriously. Yeah, no, definitely not the asshole there. His freaking sister is the asshole. Yeah, so totally understandable why he would act that way. Am I the asshole for not acting like a mom to my son? Oh boy, here we go. I know this sounds bad, but let me explain a little. I, a 35-year-old female, have a 14-year-old male son. I do everything I can for my son and make sure he has everything he needs. Okay. Lately he has been acting out a little at home and school, so I decided to sit him down to try and figure out what was happening. He's my only child, and his dad and I are still together. Okay. Tried to sit him down and ask why he was acting out. I was concerned if maybe it had something to do with myself or his father, but he wouldn't budge. I asked him, was there any issues going on at school? Because if there was, I would be more than happy to help him. I was scared there would be bullying at his school, and I was prepared to transfer him to another school if necessary. He said there was no bullying, and he had no issues. He just felt like 14-year-olds should act out a little. Okay. I told him his behavior was not allowed in my house. His behavior consisted on swearing at myself and his father, swearing at his teacher, and much more. I tried so hard to discipline him as much as possible, so here's where the issue started. After a little fussing with my son, he said my life would be better if I didn't have a mother. I was extremely hurt, naturally. I said, okay, and went on with my day. I prepared dinner for myself and his father, not for my son. When my son smelt food, he came downstairs and asked where his was. I responded, I made dinner for myself and your dad, since life is easier without a mom there's some heatable food in the freezer. My son went absolutely crazy. He stormed to his room and did not come out until today morning. Normally I would take him to school, but today I did not. He came downstairs expecting his breakfast that I make for him every morning, but there wasn't any. He said, "Where's my breakfast?" I responded, "Your mother will normally do that for you, but if life is easier without one, you'll need to prepare your own breakfast. Also take the bus to and from school." After a few swears, he made himself some cereal and took the bus. I suppose my son called his grandmother, my mother-in-law, about this, and I received many calls saying I was a horrible mother, that I'm starving my child, and I'm being petty. I thought this was a good way to discipline my child and make him grateful for everything he has. I'm starting to think I messed up. So am I the asshole? Okay, we do have some edits. Let me go ahead and read these. Later today, when he gets home from school, I plan on sitting him down to have a conversation. That what he said really hurt me. Good. I did not plan to bring up the fact that he called my mother-in-law. I have never hit, screamed, or swore at my child. I would never do this. Okay, and then she says, my son had a half day, so I texted him asking if he would like me to pick him up or the bus. He texted back saying he wanted me to get him, so I did. In the car, he immediately apologized for what he said, and he said that his friends were acting out, so he wanted to fit in. Oh, well, I'm glad he opened up. At least he opened up. His friends got suspended today for something they did, and they wanted my son to join. Bad influences. My son did not, and he said he was sorry for how he was acting. I also apologized for my actions. Well, good. It's a good growing moment. I want to say thank you all very much for your comments. When my son got home, he cleaned his room and even offered to help with dinner to learn to cook. In only a few hours, our relationship has gotten better and our communication has gotten better. Well, that's great. I think that's awesome. A happy ending. What I was going to say before all those edits, which I'm glad the edits were there because, you know, you can't expect a parent to be perfect. Like, I feel like parents mess up all the time. But, like, they try to do the best that they can. Like, they try to do, like, make the best choices for them and for their children. And I feel like she may have gone a little too far than what I would do. But I get what she was trying to make a point of. But I'm glad that he at least opened up to why he was acting the way he was, because I was scared, like, is he just not gonna say, like, why he's acting so just, like, crazy or whatever? But I'm glad that he opened up. That's actually a really good ending to this, that they both got to apologize to one another. I think the best, like, resolution was what happened here, was what came out of it, is he admitted to why he was acting the way he was. She also apologized for doing what she did. They both could have been acting like assholes to each other, but, like, I feel like she was trying to prove a point, so I'm not gonna go so far to say she was an asshole about it. I get why she did it. But yeah, I can't get over the resolution. It's such a happy ending. I love it. So yeah, that's awesome. I feel like, you know, her son trying to fit in so hard, especially at that age, you're just trying to fit in. You're trying to find friends. You're trying to find out who you are. And, you know, I get why he acted the way he did, but, you know, something needed to happen there. And I'm glad it did. So she just did the best that she thought she could for that situation. So, yeah, I don't think either one of them are assholes, because I understand from both sides. Let's see what other people said. Not the asshole. It's not like you actually deprived him of anything. He still had access to food and a way to get to school. It was definitely petty, but he wasn't harmed in any way, and maybe sometimes you have to fight fire with fire. Yeah, I agree. Am I the asshole for being annoyed my mother-in-law ate my dinner? Alright, let's read this one. Sorry. Tonight my mother-in-law came over for dinner. I made Swedish meatballs and gravy with mashed potatoes, broccoli, and homemade bread. Ooh, sounds good. In my house, we tend to eat in the lounge room unless it's a big event, so I dish up everyone's meal. Kids, mother-in-law, and husband and I take their meals to them, and then before serving mine, I have to run out to the line and grab some clothes that I hung out earlier. No big deal. I served up generous portions for everyone, way more than I thought they could eat. But when I got back from the line, my dinner was gone. I asked if anyone knew what had happened to the food on the bench, and mother-in-law pipes up and says she wanted some more. She's piled her bowl full of meatballs, way more than she would ever eat. I'm stunned. I figure, oh well, I'll just grab some fast food a bit later or something because maybe she was super hungry. My bad for not cooking enough. But when she's eaten what she wants, she asks for a container so she can take her extra portion home for dinner the next night. I'm pretty annoyed at this point and mention that it was meant to be my dinner for that night, not her takeaway meal for the next night. She says, oh, well, you can eat it then, and I reply with no thank you, and hand her a container. I didn't want to eat her leftovers. She leaves, and my husband puts the kids to bed. When he comes back in, he asks what's wrong, and I tell him that I'm hungry. I cooked the meal and didn't get to eat any of it, and I'm pissed off about it. He agrees mother-in-law was way out of line and messages her that her actions were greedy and selfish. She owes me an apology. She replies telling them that I acted like an asshole. I should have cooked more and anticipated that she would take home a portion for the next day. She offered me what she didn't eat, and I didn't want it. It's not her fault that I owe her an apology for my attitude and snarky comment. She's also posting on social media about what happened, and people are saying that I'm an asshole and a rude hostess. Well, she's an asshole for posting about it on social media. Really? Grow up, lady. I should also add I'm currently pregnant, and I feel like I can be quite unreasonable at times due to hormones. Sure, nobody's perfect. Yeah, I think your mother-in-law's an asshole for eating your food and just being like, well, you should have made more. Like, shouldn't she just be respectful and be like, oh, I should leave some for her to eat? What? Like, am I missing something here? This chick is not an asshole, her mother-in-law is. Especially if she's posting on social media, like, oh, look what my daughter-in-law did, she didn't make me enough food. It's like, oh my god, get over yourself. People like that piss me off. Like, really? You're how old? I don't even know, it doesn't say how old she is, but come on. We're not in high school. Reading your replies, she did this on purpose, right? She wanted to start this fight with you. Yeah. She took all the food before you had eaten any and then demanded to take leftovers. She's fucking with you. Don't ever cook for her again. Yeah, I mean, why would I cook for someone who shitposts me on social media? Like, come on. No. Fuck off. Okay, a lot of this is about food. Let me try to find something different. Here's one. This will be interesting. Am I the asshole for possibly ruining a man's career because he insulted me? Well, let's see the context. I am a 21-year-old female, have been working for a doctor's office for almost a year now. I take care of a lot of the medical billing / insurance work as I am a certified billing and coding specialist. Okay. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I'm pretty good at my job. Okay, go off. I graduated top of my class and scored very well on my certification test, so, it's safe to say I know what I'm doing. Despite this fact, one of the doctors, who works at a different location than I do, consistently tries to get me in trouble for things that aren't true. Anything that goes wrong, he instantly blames on me, even when I have proof that it wasn't my fault. I think he has it out for me because he thinks I'm too young to know what I'm doing. Here is where I might be the asshole. The doctor does not get his staff to give Medicare patients ABNs, which are required to be updated every year. Not sure what ABNs are. I've asked him for months to get his staff to start giving them out and have been sent over several copies over so I know that they have them. Still, I find patient after patient with no ABN or one from years ago. I finally had enough. I called Medicare and reported him for taking advantage of the elderly. This resulted in a huge fine and he might have to close down his practice because of me. Ooh. On one hand, I'm responsible for possibly ruining a man's career. On the other, I gave him several chances to avoid this. So Reddit, am I the asshole? No. I think regardless of the situation, if he is fucking with people's Medicare, then that should be reported. And you shouldn't get in trouble for that. I think the fact that he even was making up stuff to try to get her in trouble for her job and possibly her losing her job is really the asshole move, not her actually reporting something legitimate. So, and maybe she was doing it out of spite. Maybe, possibly, partially, but at least it's legitimate. And the stuff that he, tried to get her in trouble for was not. So, I wouldn't feel bad. I wouldn't feel bad. Maybe that's too savage, but that's what I think. Let's see what the commenters think. But your title is wrong. This man ruined his own career because he wasn't doing his job properly. They said correctly, but exactly what I said. Exactly. Here's one that's more of a younger person. So this one will be a little bit different. This is, am I the asshole for excluding my mom from my college move-in day? Ooh. So it says, I, an 18-year-old female, graduated high school a year early and decided instead of taking a break, I wanted to immediately start college. So I did a semester at a community college last year just to get ahead. Oh yeah, community college. I did a 2-year. It was fun. And now I'm actually moved onto a campus to finish my degree. Good for her. I lived with my mom, who is a 42-year-old female, and her husband, Ryan. That's my boyfriend's name. A 48-year-old male, halfway through high school because my siblings, Amy, a 10-year-old female, and Liam, 7-year-old male, wanted me around, and I wanted to see them too before I started doing adult stuff and got too busy to come around as often. As much as I loved being near my mother, as much as I loved being near my brother and sister, I hated living in the same house as Ryan because he and his family weren't shy about the fact that they don't really like me. Lovely. When he and my mom first got together, it was like I was being purposely excluded from everything he and his family would invite us to. On holidays, I cannot read for the life of me tonight, guys, sorry. On holidays, I'd have a seat at the table, but no one would really talk to me. I'd be asked to take pictures instead of be in them, and anytime I tried to make an effort to be included, I was always told that it was just for the family, not me. Wow. Such assholes. It got worse when they had my siblings, because then I would have to sit on the sidelines and watch as my brother and sister were enthusiastically accepted and wanted by Ryan's family, all while they made it blatantly obvious they didn't want anything to do with me. There were times when Ryan would schedule family outings but find a way to leave me at home, or he'd just straight up say I wasn't invited. Wow. The real last straw was when Ryan's sister got my mom a Mother's Day gift a few years ago. It was a locket with a picture of my brother and sister in it, and she said it was so my mom could always have her 2 children close to her heart. My mom didn't say anything about me. She didn't even glance my direction, so I stopped trying and just accepted that I'd never be a real part of her new family because I just wasn't wanted there. I'd been slowly packing my things up for the past year, either taking them to my dad's house or getting them ready to go to my dorm. So on Saturday, when move-in day started, I put all the stuff I planned on taking into my car and drove to campus myself. My dad met me there and we decorated my room together. My mom thought that I was just spending the weekend with my dad, so when I ended up telling her that I wasn't going to be coming back during the week because I'd moved in already, she got really upset. She just said it was her fault that I would exclude her from this huge moment of my life, and that as my mom, it's her job to be there for this journey and be there for me. I told her that she'd been letting her husband exclude me from her life since the day they started dating. Yeah. And because that never seemed to bother her, I didn't think it'd be a big deal for me to do it too. Yeah. Yep, I felt justified in this at first, but I could tell I really hurt her feelings, and I'm starting to think I may be an asshole. No, honestly, I would do the same because, yeah, I mean, that hurts so bad. I just couldn't imagine, like, how hurtful that would feel for your own mom to not even, like, think a second thought about you when getting a gift like that. That didn't even include you. Like, it almost makes me want to cry. Like, it's so sad. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, somebody doing that to me. It's the worst. So, no. I mean, I'm glad that she has her dad there that at least seems to care about her. Not saying that her mom doesn't care about her, but wow. Just letting your boyfriend treat your daughter like that? I wouldn't take that shit. No. So the fact that her mom is just letting that slide and accepting that, blatantly obvious that he wants to exclude her, which there's no context to say, like, why he's, like, just all of a sudden excluding her and nobody else, but still, it's not right, no matter the reason, and very immature, and I would have done the same thing if I were her. She's not an asshole. She's justified in her actions, like she said, and I'm glad that she at least had her dad there. So I'd say her mom is the real asshole there, and her mom should really think about some things. You know, when her daughter was just like, you know, I told her that she'd been letting her husband exclude me from her life since the day they started dating because that never seemed to bother her. I didn't think it'd be a big deal for me to do it too. Wouldn't that, like, that should, like, ring a bell in her mom's head, like, oh my god, yeah, no, I have been doing that, like, I get it now. No, she didn't even do that. So, yeah, that's really fucking sad. That's really a damn shame. Yeah, no, at that point, if she doesn't get it, I just would exclude her. Like, if somebody doesn't accept me, why have them in your life? Even if they're family. Yeah, no. I would have done the same thing, girl. That sucks, though. See if maybe I can find one that... Oh, this one's asshole. Okay, let me see what this one is. We're going to read this one real quick, and then we'll be done. Okay, so this is, am I the asshole for my reaction when my sister told me she was pregnant? Me, 27-year-old female, and my husband Will, 30-year-old male, have been married for 3 years. We've been trying for a baby for almost all that time. It hasn't been an easy journey in the least with no results. I had a miscarriage last year, which broke my heart. That does suck. Nevertheless, me and Will are trying to come to terms with everything and to continue with our lives, but it's difficult. We thankfully have a lot of support from family, which helps. Okay. Some background on my sister Jane. Jane, she's a 29-year-old female. Jane is nice and kind, but she does tend to pick arguments and gets emotional pretty easily and doesn't really interact with our family a whole lot. She's the type of person that has everything but acts like she has nothing, like she has a successful career, good friends, she's beautiful, etc. But she said that she feels meaningless and unsupported sometimes. Okay, again, Jane is wonderful, but she tries to act like not like other girls sometimes. Also, another thing about her, she has said multiple times before she doesn't care about having kids, like she would play with our little cousins and likes kids in general, but doesn't want any of her own, which is fine, because that's her choice. A few days ago, I met up with Jane for lunch. I haven't physically seen her in a few months, but we texted. She looked like she'd gained a bit of weight, but I assumed it was from work stress or something. She then dropped the tidbit that she was 5 months along. I was shocked, mainly because I didn't know she was in a serious relationship, and she never mentioned pregnancy when we talked. She said that she slept with a guy she met at a club a couple times. Again, this was pretty shocking news to me, and Jane was never the type for one-night stands and stuff. I asked her if our parents knew, and she said no. I asked what her plan was now. She said that she's looking forward to becoming a mom. This sort of felt like a punch in the gut, that me and my husband have been trying for so long to have a baby, and my sister, who never wanted kids in the first place, is having one whoring around. I said to Jane I thought she didn't care to have kids, or I thought she said she didn't care to have kids. But Jane said she feels different now, and this baby is a blessing. I got kind of tired of this, so I told her that she knows full well about mine and Will's struggles, and she's acting like she's going to play happy families with some random's baby. I realized what I said was kind of harsh and said sorry, but Jane got really upset and ended up leaving. Oof. I did try and call/text her back, but she hasn't replied. I think she's overreacting, and I did apologize, but am I the asshole? I mean, I know this says that people said that they were an asshole, so it's kind of obvious, but yeah, I think I would agree. Like, while their struggles are valid, very much valid, because I know, I've seen, people struggle to have kids, and some of them just can't have kids. Like, it's not possible. That it's really hard mentally and physically on someone. So I totally get that. Her feelings are totally valid on that. But it sounds like when she said, back up here, her sister, type of person that has everything but acts like she has nothing. Like, she has a successful career, good friend, she's beautiful. That only means so much. Maybe her sister is insecure about her life, and maybe that's why she does all that. You can have, everything and feel like shit. Because she says right here, but she said that she feels meaningless and unsupported sometimes. And so it kind of makes sense in this next paragraph where she's just like, well, have you told our parents? And she said no. So she's only told her, so evidently she feels like she can open up to her, like she's comfortable enough to open up to her sister. And then when her sister makes it all about herself, it's like, well, that sucks. So yeah, I don't think they were in the right to make it about themselves and their situation. While their situation is valid, it's not relevant to what her sister is going through. I think it seems like her sister's going through her own struggles, because she said, it's not like her to just have a one-night stand with a guy and get pregnant. Maybe her sister's going through something, and for her to say something like that, I mean, yikes. Yeah, no, I hate to break it to this person, but that was definitely an asshole moment for you. Your sister probably thought you were an asshole in that moment. Yeah, that really sucks. Because it seemed like maybe your sister was going through something. Hopefully your sister's okay. Hopefully this person's okay too. Because again, both of their struggles are valid. I just feel like this person kind of made it about themselves when it really wasn't about them at all. I don't feel like her sister did it in spite of anything, or, you know, no. I feel like something more deep was going on there, and yeah, kind of fucked it up. But anyway, let me actually go ahead and look at the first comment on this one. What does this say? It sort of felt like a punch in the gut that me and my husband have been trying for so long to have a baby, and my sister, who never wanted kids in the first place, is having one whoring around. You are being a jealous, self-centered sister, and it's an awful look. Ooh. Yeah. They said it in a really, really, like, aggressive way, but that's around the lines of what I was trying to say. Yeah. Yeah. Women are not whores for having sex. Sex is a normal human function that everybody enjoys. If it's your sister's choice to be child-free, it's also her choice to have children if that's what she wants. People can always change their minds. Just because they may not want children one day doesn't mean they may, doesn't mean they don't maybe want a child in the future. People can change. This chick really took it personal when it really wasn't personal. It just seems like her sister was going through shit, and she was really trying to share that with somebody, hoping to maybe get support, and she didn't. So, yeah, that really is unfortunate. So, yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed. And it's fun to go through these and just see what other people think, what other people say, mostly, but it's fun to just break it down, the whole story, and kind of try to see it from both sides, even though you're getting really one side of the story. But yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys have been cool. And yeah, if you disagree with any of my opinions that were stated here, you're more than welcome to express it in the comments. Feel free. Just as long as you're respectful, I'll be respectful of your opinions. So I will see you guys later. Bye.